Good evening, dear students. I hope you are doing well in these circumstances. So this session is devoted for Master 2 students, both specialties, either didactics, literature, civilization, even for Master 1 students, since they will have next year, inshallah, their Viva voice. So throughout this session, we will discuss some issues about how to deliver a good oral presentation. For your master Viva voice, we have talked about that in the first semester when we had a study day on plagiarism, but due to the overloaded schedule and the existing circumstances that we are living, we didn't. We'll see how to plan, to present, and to practice, plan, and present a good oral defense. Before that, we all know that a master dissertation or a doctoral thesis and not memoir is the culmination of your work and your research. And of course, the oral presentation, mainly if it will be a good oral presentation, will add what? Will add value to your conducted research. As such, you have to prepare your viva voice carefully. Thus, you should plan and practice your presentation. So what is meant by viva voice defense? So viva voice defense is what a final assessment, and it is a final exam for your research. You have conducted a research and you are going to have an exam. What type of exam? It is an oral exam. So it is seen as an opportunity to talk about and to defend your research work. So what is the purpose of the viva voice? In fact, the focal aim of presenting your work orally is what? To show the examiners that you can defend your work, or you can defend what you have found verbally. To show the examiners where your research work sits in relation to the field that you are studying, to show them that the work you have conducted deserves to be listed among the research works of the field you are investigating, and to evaluate and improve your work in relation to their commands. Of course, after they examine your work, you are going to take their commands into account to improve your research work. And of course, the examiners are what? Examiners who are specialized in the field, and they will give you valuable comments to take into account in evaluating and improving your research work. But how should I prepare a good oral presentation? In order to prepare a good oral presentation, you have to plan it. It means that you have to plan, to practice, to present. A study conducted by some experts highlighted that 50% of the mistakes conducted in any oral presentation take place due to the lack of planning. It means that those who do not plan, while they face problems or they conduct mistakes in presenting their work. Therefore, to succeed in planning your oral presentation, you should plan for your presentation. So plan means you prepare the oral presentation and the written form. It means you prepare the sheet, notes. You take notes that these notes can be taken as a roadmap to guide you throughout your oral presentation, and to prepare what? To prepare a PowerPoint presentation for no more than 15 minutes. Okay, 15 minutes to 20 minutes. So what is the structure of your viva voice presentation? Your presentation should contain 3 main sections. So what are these sections? You've got the introduction. In fact, the introduction is what? The gate to your success. It is what? The gate to your success, since the peak of concentration of your audience is reached, is high in the first minutes. It means that in the 3 first minutes, you should catch the attention of your audience. If you fail to capture or to catch the attention of the audience within the first 2 minutes, you have lost them forever. What should I include in the introduction? So in the introduction, introduce what? Introduce your topic, the outline of the work, and create an effective opening that will attract the attention of your audience. That is to say, presenting what? Presenting a hook through which you present, for example, the main question, revealing your topic, and the main idea behind the choice of the topic. Because this is the first question that will be asked by some of the examiners. What is the intention, or what are the reasons behind selecting such a topic? What about the body? So, but the body of your presentation should follow the exact structure as the outline of the introduction. Of course, you put an outline, and we are going to see that. An outline in the introduction, you should follow the same structure. You are not going to here to change in the structure. So in the body, you should present your main points one by one in what following logical order. You are not going to change it. In the outline, pause at the end of each point. Give a pause at the end of each point or at the end of each slide and give what people time to take notes. You are not in a hurry to finish. You've got 15 to 20 minutes to present your speech. So give here the examiners, the audience who are present in the viva room, time to take notes, to think about what you are saying. And of course, make it clear when you move from one point to another. For example, I can use here the next point is that, of course, we mustn't forget that. However, it's important to realize that you should use expressions, sentences, phrases like these. So you should provide sufficient evidence to convince the audience. Sufficient evidence, it means that examples, tables, figures, etc. Try to use what? Transition between the introduction, the main body, and the conclusion, as well as between the different sections. So here it means that it is a set of slides, a set of points which form what? One presentation. So concerning your speech, what should I include in my speech? Of course, you are going to prepare speech, and here if you are afraid to forget what to say, sometimes there are some students who, of course, are good in delivering their speech without, for example, taking notes that guide them in their own presentation. Some, due to their anxiety, they this may lead them to here to forget what to say. So in this case, what? It's preferable and of course it is not academic to read from the PowerPoint. Of course, here you should prepare what? Notes. Notes of paper. In a paper, put what? Put your notes. So having notes in a paper helps you to think and speak at the same time. And this gives the speaker an impression that you are well prepared. And to prepare your notes for the presentation, you should follow a given strategy. Before talking about the given strategy, let us check what is in the slide. So the main sections in the body of your because here the PowerPoint presentation or your presentation contain what? The introduction should contain the body and the conclusion. So what should be included in the introduction? In the introduction, you include a short background, some definitions of some terms. Here the reason behind selecting the topic, the outline, the page for the outline, a map for the presentation. What should be included in the body? In the body, you should mention the research questions. You should mention the objectives, the hypothesis, the research methodology and design, research tools and sampling data analysis and interpretation recommendations. By the end, research implications and conclusions. And these shouldn't exceed 15 slides. Very good, well prepared presentation is the presentation which shouldn't exceed what? 15 slides. 15 slides. What about the conclusion? So, in the conclusion, give a summation of the main findings, and of course, you are going to restate the purpose of your work and answering your research questions, and of course, thanking the audience and inviting them for what? Inviting them for questions. Let us now talk about the strategies. We return back about the strategies that you are going to prepare your speech, not your PowerPoint, but your speech. Let us return to our speech. So talking about what should be included as a note paper. Of course, for those who are afraid about forgetting what to say, they should include what is called a note paper. So in your note paper, try to write your notes on a readable font. Font, for example, using Times Roman or Arial or Cooley with a size of 18, readable font. Try to use, for example, bold text to remember ideas and explanations, colors to remember. So this is in your what? Note paper, not in your PowerPoint presentation. Try to signal the transition from one side to another through the use of colors. So to show that that I have finished with this slide, I am going to use another slide. I can use colors, and I can even write slide, for example, 3, and I put it in yellow color to signal that I'm going to move to another slide. It means that another point of view or another section. In case you face some words which are difficult to pronounce, sometimes you face some words which are difficult to pronounce, or you are not sure about their exact pronunciation, try to write down their phonetic transcription. Simply in your notes paper, write what their phonetic transcription. This may help you to remember how these words are pronounced. Another important point to remember is to avoid to read from the PowerPoint. Of course, to give or to provide a good oral academic presentation, try not to read from the PowerPoint presentation. Try to prepare a note paper, not reading from the PowerPoint presentation. Talking about the options used to prepare your PowerPoint presentation. Of course, there are many options used to prepare your PowerPoint. Visual aids, we can say, are the most important, used mainly. Here we've got the PowerPoint, and we've got, for example, the software Prezi, very interesting to use in your presentation. And of course, don't read from the slides. This makes the presentation boring. And try to talk to the audience through maintaining what Templeton and Spark call an eye contact. It means that you should move your eyes from one examiner to another, to your supervisor, to the audience, not fixing your attention on one person, for example, on the president or on your supervisor or the examiner, whether he's internal or external examiner, but try to move with your eyes. It means that an eye contact, use an eye contact between the examiners and the audience. And make your slides simple and clear. Don't use texts. As you can see here, I'm not using text, just points and I'm explaining. Okay, don't use text, just points, and you develop these points. Try to use your voice. Your voice here, you should what? You should control your voice. So through using your voice, of course you use your voice to communicate through what? Speaking loudly, clearly and slowly. I'm not going to speak loudly and quickly, but clear, loudly and slowly. Avoid the use of fillers, like for example, you know. So these fillers should be avoided in your presentation. This may happen mainly through the transition from one idea to another. It can happen between an idea and you are thinking at the same time you are speaking, and here you face using fillers. And when you are using a note paper, of course, you are going to avoid using fillers. Try to vary your voice quality. So don't use the same volume and pitch. You can't present all your presentation loud or soft. This may lead your audience to stop listening. When you are speaking loudly or slowly, this will lead your audience to stop listening. Try to use your hand gestures. When you are speaking, try to use your hand gestures for one reason to attract attention, for the other reason to here to diminish anxiety. Try to use a pause for short periods. So mainly for slides. I have finished with this slide. I'm going to stop shortly, then I'm going to start again. This can give you a chance to get and organize what? Your ideas. Among other gestures, for example, stand straight and comfortably, hold your head up, of course, don't turn your back to the audience, and this is the most, it is not preferable. And keep your hands out of your pocket, and finally be open to questions. So as you present, you are expected to answer some questions. Of course, there are some questions that you know the answers and some not. So try to collect these questions in a paragraph and answer what you know or for every examiner, or you can provide an answer for each examiner. So through your answer, try to defend your claims. Explain your contribution and knowledge of the topic. Regarding the questions, the most of these questions are related to the literature review. Most of the questions are related to the literature review and the practical side. Practical side mainly the research tools and findings, the interpretation of the findings and recommendations. So this is an overview about how to prepare a good oral presentation, and your presentation, as I said, shouldn't exceed 15 to 20 minutes. Here you should do, of course, plan, you should practice, and after that present your work. You can even prepare a viva in front of your supervisor and colleagues in order to see their impression about your presentation. So this is concerning the oral presentation. Let's now move on to how can I prepare my PowerPoint presentation. So many students asked me about that for a session, but so let us talk about that. So as you can see here, I have here the title. So this is the front page of my PowerPoint presentation. So this is, for example, I took here the our title for our case study, which are dealing with, and I took here the name of my student Muna Qundusi, and of course here you include what your university. It means that affiliation. So of course the title should be written in Times New Roman size 18, and of course here your name with your university. So this is an APA. It can be written in Times New Roman size 14. So what should be included in the front page of your PowerPoint presentation? Just your title, your name, and your university. This is the second page. So the second page, in the second page, what include the introduction? So this is the outline. In the outline section, write these: introduction, research objectives, research questions, hypothesis, research methods and design, data analysis, interpretation, recommendations. You can even include research implications and drawing conclusions by the end. So this is the outline, and this should be included in the second